Welcome to day 56 of our school year. Filled in. Alright, let's start with our beginning fraction. Our denominator is 180 because that's how many school days we have. And we are on day 56. So now we want to think, what is our numerator, 56? Is it prime or composite? Well, it's an even number, and the only even number that's prime is 2, so it's composite. And we need to do the prime factorization for both the denominator and the numerator. And if you remember, our first 5 prime that we used, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. So let's see, 180, that ends in a 0, so I can divide by 5. I could get 3 groups of 5 out of 18. That leaves 150, that leaves 30, which would be 6 groups of 5. 36, well, 3 plus 6 is 9, so I could divide by 3. I get 1 group of 3 out of 30, 2 groups of 3 out of 6. So that's actually 10 groups of 3 out of 30. This is even, so I can divide by 2. That's even, so I can divide by 2. I get 3. 3 is prime, so I'm done there. 56 is even, so I could divide by 2. I could get 2 10s out of 50, and I'm left with 16. And that would be 8. 2 groups of 8. Still even, so I could divide by 2. I could get 10 groups of 2 out of 20, and then 4 groups of 2 out of 8. Still even. And I get 7. 7's prime, so I am done. So let's go ahead and put down our prime factorization. 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 5. We always go from least to greatest. Okay, and then for our numerator, it's now 2 times 2 times 2 times 7. So let's see what prime factors we have in common in the numerator and denominator. Looks like 2 times 2. So our greatest common factor, 2 times 2, is 4. I'm left with 2 times 7, 14 in the numerator. 3 times 3, 9 times 5 is 45. So that's what I'm left with. My greatest common factor is 4, so let's go ahead and make groups of 4. Doesn't matter what your groups of 4 look like. They do not have to look like mine. I'm using perfect squares. 4 is called a perfect square because I can make a perfect square with the same length sides, 2 by 2 in this case. The thing you want to make sure of is that you have 4 in each group, and that your shaded are kept separated from your unshaded. I could have made groups of 4 like this here, but then I'd have half and half. And now I'm putting fractions inside fractions, and that just makes it more complicated. Keep it separate. Okay, now let's count up our total amount of groups. I have 5 groups in each row, so I can count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 40, 45. 45 total groups of 4. 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 shaded in. So I did my division with my model. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the division with my algorithm. I'm dividing the shaded area into groups of 4 and the whole thing into groups of 4. So these will always be the same, and they have to work for both. Okay, let's look at our area model. So 180 divided into groups of 4 and 56 divided into groups of 4. I know that 4 quarters makes $1 or 100 cents. Numbers the same, zeros a game. More on top, no need to stop. Numbers the same, zeros a game. This is not less than 4, so I'm going to bring it up here and take out some more. Let's see, to get 8, I'd multiply by 2, but to get to 80, I'd need to move it over a place and make it 20. So I need that placeholder. 20 times 4 is 80. Numbers the same, zeros a game. So that is less than 4. We're definitely done there. 25 plus 20 is 45. Okay, down here, I'm going to do 10 groups of 4, which is 40. More on top, no need to stop. More on top, no need to stop. 16 is not less than 4, so I'm going to bring that up here. And 4 times 4 is 16. Numbers the same, zeros a game. Add up these partial quotients. 10 plus 4 is 14. Now I need to check, and my check for both has to do with the divisor times the quotient plus the remainder. That's my inverse operations. Divisor times quotient plus remainder. Since my remainder is 0 for both, and the identity property of addition says when you add 0, it stays the same, I don't need to add the 0. 4 groups of 5 is 20. 4 groups of 4 tens is 16 tens, plus 2 more tens is 18 tens. 4 groups of 4 is 16. 4 groups of 10 is 4 tens, plus 1 more 10 is 5 tens. So 56 matches my dividend, check. 180 matches my dividend up here, check. So my numerator is definitely 14, and my denominator is definitely 45. Alright, now let's go ahead and fill in our data collection page. Alright, trimester 1, week 13, the last week of this trimester. Next week we'll start trimester 2. So today is 10/28/19, and our fraction for today is 14/45. So we did groups of 4. So our last group of 4 is 13/45, and then today 14/45. There's nothing lined up below it, but there is an equivalent fraction in the 2's. The 2 is, sorry, that's so high. The 2 is a common factor, but 4 is the greatest common factor. So 14/45 is our simplest form for today, or our equivalent fraction in lowest terms. Okay, go ahead and put your number line away, erase your worksheet, and thank you for joining me.